We're here at Wilton Mill where we've just been testing the GPK Series karts. We've had Ivan Lomliev from Honda Cadet. He's been testing the Cadet kart, and we've had Alex Brundle and Piers Prior testing the senior kart as well. So the testing day's just finished, so we're going to speak to all three drivers to see what they thought. So we're going to start with Ivan Lomliev. Now, Ivan, you know this track really well, don't you? You've won in Honda Cadet here this year, but this was a lot quicker, wasn't it? Just tell us, how much quicker was it than your usual Honda Cadet kart in terms of lap times?
Yeah, it was about 3 seconds quicker than my Honda Cadet, and just out of the corners it came like really quick, and it was just amazing, yeah, really fast.
So tell us about the first session when you first went out in it. What did it feel like compared to your Honda Cadet? What were the immediate differences?
It was surprisingly fast when I went out first session, and the corners that I usually take out flat, I was actually having to brake, and then as I got used to the car, then I got quicker and quicker. So.
Yeah, and obviously you're on a Tony Kart chassis as well. Usually you're on the Synergy chassis. Did that feel a lot different to the Synergy?
Yeah, it was different to the Synergy, but the Tony Kart was well balanced. It was handling great, and yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and what lap times were you doing? So compared to what lap times you usually do?
Well, like in Honda we'll do mid 54s, and today we did 51.4, which was our quickest time today, yeah.
And what was your favourite part of the car? Was it the acceleration out the corner? Was it the grip?
Yeah, I'll say the acceleration, how quick it came out of the corners, and the speed on the straight.
Did you have to change your driving style for that?
Yeah, I had to, some corners I had to brake later or turn in at different points so I can get to the curb and stay in the racing line.
So overall, did you enjoy it more than the Honda Cadet?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we see you racing it at some point. Alex, obviously you haven't driven a kart for a while, so you went to Sandown yesterday just to put some laps in, but how did it feel coming out the pits first time?
Yeah, I mean, I went to Sandown yesterday, but a race kart's a much different proposal. I haven't been here since I was like 15 years old, so very much reminiscing coming back to Wilton Mill. But I mean, the power of the senior GPK kart is really phenomenal. We're talking about 38 horsepower, which when you work it out per tonne in relation to a race car is equivalent to something very, very fast indeed.
Now, obviously, you have to be very physically fit to race cars, but how tough was it in the kart round here?
I mean, to be honest, I do the D-Max 24-hour race every year with Daytona Motorsport. I thought that was the one of the hardest challenges I've ever had in a racing machine. But this thing, I mean, train, boys, train before you come racing here. They say it's arrive and drive. It's not. It's arrive at the gym for 2 weeks and then turn up and then see how you get on, and you might be all right. And
through the corners, I mean, it looked like you were just carrying so much speed. Was there a lot of grip?
I mean, yeah. Massive amounts of grip. Always with lightweight in a kart, you do have that great sensation of grip, but I think the overwhelming feel from the kart is the power, and that's how you differentiate drivers, by having more power than the grip level available, and that's the sensation of the kart right now.
Now, any drivers doing GPK, if they're in the junior or senior, they win a prize of going into cars. How is it stepping down? I mean, how good preparation is this for that next step, would you say?
I mean, I know how professional karting is, first and foremost, so I don't really see it as stepping down. It's kind of a discipline to itself. It's stepping across. These guys know what they're doing, and it's nice to spend a day with some karting contemporaries today. That said, in terms of the speed of a single-seater or F3 car, or even moving up into high-level single-seaters, is fantastic preparation. You get your brain going fast, you get your arms going fast, and you develop fitness and that kind of focus that you need to drive these karts quickly is what's required later in motorsport life. Yeah.
And overall chassis and engine together, obviously push start as well, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it feels professional. It's not jump in, press a button and off you go. You've got to get everything right, and again, you've got to know about the machine, which I think is really important for youngsters moving through. You've got to know what's going on underneath you, and that's critical.
And what kind of lap times were you doing today?
We were, I think I was a little bit slower than Piers, maybe a couple of tenths. We were 44s and 45s round here, but it's nice for me to be trading tenths with some boys who kart every week. I was happy with that, jumping back from my prototype racing, but yeah, we were just about quickest out there, I think, today.
Good stuff. Well, it was great to have you here. Finally, we'll come round to Piers. I'm just going to come around this side. Piers, of course, you're doing the official review for us with the help of Alex and Ivan. Now, you had a big smile on your face when you came in after the first session, didn't you?
Still got a big smile on my face. That kart is unreal. It's so quick, so much grip, so much flair. Everything about it is just right. It's just karting at its purest form.
Try and describe it to us over a lap, in terms of going through some of the corners. Take us through the journey that kart took you on.
Well, obviously, we're at Wilton Mill today, which is a quick circuit anyway, and you arrive at the first corner flat out, pulling, don't even know how many Gs, but trying to hold your head up, and then you fly through some of the corners, and then you get to the braking zones and the kart just stops. The tyres it's got on are just so grippy, the brakes are nice and positive, and you can really feed it into the corners, really bed it in the corners, and you've got a lot of lateral load, and you can use the caster and the camera to really get the kart turned, and it just fires out the corner. It's got so much torque. I think it's got 38 horsepower or something like that, and we're not even running that heavy as well, so it absolutely flies out the corners. It's a job to keep hold of.
And in terms of racing, how do you think that's going to play out? Could you imagine yourself going up the inside of people or having to defend even?
Yeah, the racing is going to be awesome. I mean, it's always better to race when you've got more power, because you can use the kart in a lot of different ways tactically. For instance, if you're sort of making someone defend, they've got so much power on the exit, they might just kick it out and bog on the exit, and you can fly past them. You've got so much grip, big lunges, lots of G-forces, so the racing will be rough and ready, but it's going to make for an awesome fun and also a great series in general.
And in terms of the chassis itself as well, Tony Kart's chassis, I mean, everyone pretty much knows that they're good. Did you like the chassis?
Yeah, I love the chassis. I haven't actually driven a Tony Kart in many years, so to come back and feel it on these especially grippy tyres, I mean, you think chassis might be too soft, but it just works. It just really works. It turns in lovely. I mean, we didn't do anything on the setup all day. It just put it on the ground and it just went, and it felt beautiful.
And you think it's going to be close, 30 of those on the grid? I mean, how much do you reckon it's going to be front to back? Must be only 2-3 tenths, or do you reckon the fact that it's that fast might make it a little bit more distance between front to back?
Well, having that pace and the speed, you have to drive it so particularly so you don't bog and you can get it wrong so easily, because everything's coming at you at 100 miles an hour, or it feels like 100 miles an hour. So you'd really have to have a lot of skill and drive, really disciplined to get the most lap time out of it. But at the same time, the racing, if you've got guys that are competing at the top, good drivers with good teams, and they've set the car up well, the racing at the front is going to be awesome.
And finally, looking at the calendar, they got GYG, Rowra, Buckmore Park. Now, you've done a lot at Buckmore Park. Have you been to the other two circuits?
I have. Recently, I was at GYG for the first time I've been there for the BUKC, and I have to say that track is my favourite circuit now. Buckmore is obviously a classic. Everyone loves Buckmore. They will absolutely fly around Buckmore. Out of those hairpins with the high gearing they'll put on, it'll absolutely fly on there. It'll probably be the quickest karts we've seen around there.
And what about GYG?
GYG is just an awesome track. Everyone obviously knows GYG. It's got undulation, it's got turns, twists, it's good for overtaking in certain areas. And down that massive great straight, these karts, I'll be probably touching 80 miles an hour, I reckon.
And just finally try and sum up the day in general for you and your last impressions of the car.
I think you can see how I feel about the car on my face. I mean, I just came in from that last session. I don't think the smile has left my face since the beginning of the day, first time I drove the kart. It just works. It's so much, it's exhilarating, it's fun, and also I think the racing will be great with this kart.
Thanks very much, guys. Thanks very much. That's the review on the GPK Series for Karting Magazine. We're going to have the full review on our website as well from Piers Prior, Alex Brundle and Ivan Lomliev.